This podcast is proudly sponsored by Soultone Cymbals. Soultone Cymbals are located in Los Angeles, California. Handcrafted, manufactured in Turkey. These cymbals are durable, they sound amazing, they're made perfect. So please go check out Soultone Cymbals and give them some support. Soultone Cymbals, proudly sponsoring Loud, an alternative music podcast.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 4 of Loud, an alternative music podcast. I'm your host, Tomye West, and here to the side of me is my co-host, Cody O'Connor.
It's Codes, hello.
And we are joined by the very cool, very handsome Scott from the band Emecia. How you going, man?
How you going? Lovely to be here.
Yeah, man, we're stoked to have you.
Yeah.
How's Adelaide, man?
Adelaide's pretty good, man. It's small town. At the moment, I mean, it's super bipolar with weather. It's like either hot or like wet. At the moment, it's wet. I usually pack an emergency pair of shorts with me the last couple of weeks just in case it like gets super humid or I like being comfortable these days.
Yeah, no, it's all about comfort, you know, like I used to wear some ridiculous clothes being like in that emo scene when it was coming up, you know, like I think me and my mate went to Osmosis or some shop and bought like girls skinny tight jeans and I bought hot pink ones and he bought like aqua green ones or something, but they were like size 6 girl pants and like.
And then I was renowned for wearing red skinny tight jeans back in the day. Like that was my thing for a bit. And I was talking this to a mate today about like back in the day you'd wear jeans and have that aesthetic all year round. And that was life. And now it's like
No matter the weather, no matter if it was sunny or whatever. Like it's funny you say, Tom. I fit into size 6s once. That was my claim to fame. I kept it to myself, but I was like, I fit into size 6.
Wow.
You're still really skinny, dude. Like, what did you say you weigh?
When did I say I ate?
No, what did you say you weigh?
I weigh like 60 kilo.
See, man, I used to weigh like 58 kilos or something, but this was when I was not well and I was obviously an addict of certain things. And
I'm pretty underweight.
Now I'm like the heaviest I've ever been. And like I'm not happy with it, even though I look healthy and good and I'm not fat or anything, you know what I mean? I'm just like, I'm not happy with it. Still, I'm like, I want to go back to being 58 kilos, you know?
That's light, dude. Like I'm 96 or something. Like,
yeah, see, I'm like 78, I think now.
But like, I've also got like the longest legs in the world. So finding those skinny jeans back in the day was like almost impossible. Like they just didn't make them.
And I used to wear like a Bert is my homeboy t-shirt and like, what else did I wear? Like some other stupid band shirts and like just, I love the used obviously, and I'm not saying they're stupid, but, you know, just like tight, small shirts that, you know, then the studded belt, then the tight.
Yeah, it's funny because
the bands, bonds or some shit, you know. It was just like, real emo.
They were so tight, and then you had a big belt buckle. Like I had like a Nest controller or like famous darts and straps, and then I wore like high because I was so tall. It was skinny jeans and high tops just to cover that gap. So I didn't show. Back then, you didn't show your ankles off. Now it's all about the ankle, man.
Oh yeah, definitely.
The low-cut Vans with your ankle socks, I get it, yeah.
I kind of like wearing, like, I'm in love with, like, West Coast rap culture and West Coast rap itself, like, from Los Angeles, like, Compton, you know, I'm obsessed with the setting, the things that happen there, the gangs and all that sort of thing, and I really love hip-hop clothing as well and stuff, so now I kind of try to dress a little bit, like, mixed of like hip hoppy alternative because I don't know. I just like the flair. I guess.
Yeah, the aesthetic. I mean, crew socks and like chino shorts was like a big punk thing anyway, and that's very that culture. Yeah.
I'm looking around for a hoodie.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm the only one without a hoodie on. I feel out of place.
I'm just out. Like, so I've got my studio is converted carport, so I've like linoed the floor, it's bricked, and I've got a half wall. And can get cold in here. So I thought rather than me shivering for half a video, I'll wear a jumper. So
I like all your art and stuff behind you. I like the use poster you got.
yeah.
I got to use one too.
Yeah, sick, man. I got some signed stuff in here, man.
I got some signed stuff too. I'll quickly grab mine. I'll show you.
I can't move my Mac, unfortunately. I can't carry that shit around.
I got this poster from the Taste of Chaos tour.
Dude, I've got two. I've got one signed from Story in the Year.
Oh, nice.
And it's completely signed.
Yeah, that's sick. And I got a signed one from Under Oath that says Happy 18th Birthday, Scott, right above me. So,
Under Oath, probably my all-time favorite band, basically.
Probably happy.
Oh, yeah, dude. Definitely in my top 5 for sure.
And Define the Great Line is my number 1 album of all time. So.
Yeah, man, that's solid. I remember hearing that for the first time and going, this sucks. It's not the first album. And then like sat down. I was like, no. And I had my CD player in my bedroom, and I just sat there and I listened to it the second time, and I was like, nah, it's solid. I was just being a bitch. Like
I didn't like Under Oath on They're Only Chasing Safety. Yeah,
really?
I wasn't a fan really of them at all, and I didn't think they were very hot live back then either because they were pretty unseasoned, you know. But
frontman were they running? Because then you go back to when the Sun Sleeps. The other dude, who's the frontman from Middlin and the Sons.
Yeah. I just watched something about him last night. Yeah.
He was way too southern for that band. Like
southern rock completely, bro.
Yeah.
But They're Only Chasing Safety. Like, it wasn't like I hated it or anything. Like, but I was like really in love with The Used. I was in love with Escape the Fate from first to last. Like,
Bones Your Latest Fashion, man. That just got released on vinyl.
Did it? I didn't know
that.
Yeah,
I messaged Ronnie Radke. He's not going to reply to me at all.
Yeah, he barely replies. I've tried so many times too.
I was just like, dude, do you get royalties? Because I will buy this because you fucking wrote a fucking sick record. Like, I don't know why I sent him, but I was like, I owe it to him. But he's like, he's not going to fucking read it, man. Like,
as you do.
You'd be surprised about, like, if you take chances with messaging people, it sometimes comes out better, you know? Like, I didn't realize, like, the chances I could get by just reaching out to people and talking to them, and people do reply, which is surprising. Like a lot of people, like a lot of famous people.
I feel Twitter's good for that. Like Twitter's very direct, so the likelihood I found with me that works well. Sometimes Instagram, but yeah, like it is a bit funny how like you just kind of send a message and they do get back to you. Like I sent a message to when Juska dropped. I sent that to a Dylan. He used to be the frontman of For the Fallen Dreams.
I remember them.
So he dropped a new band, and he's also a tattooist, which I follow him for his tats as well. So I was talking to him, going, "Oh, the new single's sick," and then I flipped it on him like a month later. I was like, "Hey man, can you check this out?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's pretty solid." And I was like, "Oh, that's cool. I used to watch you as a kid, and you were fucking pretty rad." So I mean, it's funny how you go from idolizing people younger, and then all of a sudden you're either talking to them or like something like that. And that's happened more and more as I've gotten older, which is pretty crazy.
I love that about socials. It kind of breaks down the barrier between, like, I remember growing up and thinking of people like, you know, Ollie Sykes, for example, Burt McCracken, Tom, as them being like, you know, up on a pedestal or whatever. And you're right, you get a bit older and you just send them a message and you realize they're just normal people as well. So I love, I guess Twitter maybe, you still got PR teams and stuff, but I guess people on Twitter probably run their page more so than Instagram. It'd be a shit ton more PR teams and whatnot on Insta, I guess.
Yeah, I guess they'd have this blanket of what they control. And I mean, like, Twitter's kind of a bit personal. Burt McCracken, I will meet that dude. I mean,
I've met him, bro.
Yeah, he's on the list, dude. I remember that Taste of Chaos show, right? He walked out, he flicked a joint, and I caught it. And I was like, if I smoke this, I will be able to sing like Burt McCracken. And I truly believed it.
I love it.
Well, he also did a cheeky spit, and I did a stupid thing, 18. I did the whole, He missed me, but he looked at me and he was just like, "You're weird. I like you." And I was like, "Oh my God, that's the best thing." And then when you're like 17, like, that's the fucking world. But he probably thought that kid's a fucking freak. Like, what are you doing?
I actually got to see them before that Taste of Chaos show. I went to the Sydney show when they did the Sydney one at the Horden Pavilion.
Yeah,
and then they did Channel V the next day, so I got to see them both times. And I met, when they were there that time, I met Brandon.
Brandon was a
Jeff and Quinn. I met Jeff.
Quinn Allman. Yeah.
Yep. And then when they came back for Taste of Chaos, I got to meet them all again and got to meet Bert and Brandon. They were all super nice dudes. I've even met Dan as well, Whiteside. But Bert was a little hard to approach because he was a bit back then. I think he was a bit washed with the whole success that he was having. And I think that he was a bit. He wasn't rude. He just was really like snobbish to me to begin with. But then he kind of like I think realized that he was being a little bit rude and like went, I'm just joking, and like had a fun time with him after that, you know. And I got a photo with him and stuff. But I've heard since then he's gotten a lot more like happy and like comfortable where he's at, and I think he's a lot more easy to approach now. You know,
doesn't he live in Sydney now? Or
yeah, he does.
Blacktown, I think he does. Yeah.
Yeah, but he has no social media. Like he finds it very toxic. I listened to a podcast with him about a month or two ago. He finds it's not good for his mental health or something like that. And I'm like, that's cool. Just means I can't stalk you or ever meet you. I never know where you'll be. But maybe one day, man, I'll be sitting in an airport and he'll walk past and I'll be just like, oh my God.
I'll tell you who's really good at writing back. Probably the two people in bands that write back nearly all the time is still Brandon Steineckert from Rancid, and Chris Dudley from Under Oath. They will write back to you on Instagram or Twitter or whatever. I'll message them because whatever, and they always write back. And it even says, you message me, I'll message you. So
that's cool. That being said, I commented on Jeff from the U's picture probably 2 weeks ago, and he was saying something nice, and I was like, yeah, humble as always, dude. And he was like, yeah, man, cheers. And I was like, oh, no fucking way. Like, he read that shit. Like, I didn't think he was going to read it. I sent it, and I was like, why did I say that? He's not going to read it. I do that all the time. But
I do it all the time too, man. I mean, I've had replies from Steve-O from Jackass. I've had replies from a lot of the Jackass crew, actually. They're pretty good at replying. I've had, heaps of like little random messages that I'll send off, and suddenly I'll be like, oh, I'm going to message back. Can't believe it. So it's good that they can do that. You know, that the people can do that, being in positions where they're, you know, extremely popular or whatever. I think it's good that they can still look at you and go, oh, it's a person asking me a question and I can still engage with them. You know what I mean? So
it bridges that gap of pedestal to, oh, that's just another dude online or another girl online. Like, I mean,
I think maybe in 2021 as well, because of technology, you're right, it does break the gap. So they kind of have to take it a bit more seriously. Not have to, but, you know, like, you realize that it's like a person that actually wants to talk to you, you know?
Yeah, exactly. And I find the same thing. Like, I don't have hundreds of messages a day at any means, but like occasionally I'll get someone from anywhere in the world, or, you know, just where like, oh, hey dude, how's it going? Like that's sick or whatever. And that makes me feel like rad, man. So like, I can only imagine, you know, it's still nice to hear that.
Absolutely, yeah. We're still
human.
Being
bombarded with it, it can be very overwhelming, and it's like, well, I don't want to use my phone today because, like, you're flooded with messages.
For sure.
Yeah, I get like that sometimes, man. I get like that where sometimes, like, dude, I'm a pretty like forward moving guy where it's like once I'm doing something, like I keep going, and it's like, say if it's like filming a music video or something for my like drumming stuff or like whatever I'm doing, because I did film school and all this stuff, like I'll like just work so hard on it and like for 2 weeks editing it and shit, and it's just constant, and then I'll just be like, oh, it's done, and then for like 3-4 days I'll just be in bed and no one will be able to get contact with me.
Yeah, so pull this introvert and be like, leave me alone, I'm hiding. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes I just need that time off, you know?
Yeah. I remember it is kind of relevant. I remember. Do you like a day to remember, Scott?
Yeah, so I followed them from those who have heart. Like, I remember when I was listening to that, people were listening to like "Job for a Cowboy" and be like, "Oh, that shit's too pop," and I'm like, I think it's pretty cool. But
so when Common Courtesy came out, well, I think it was Common Courtesy, or I'm pretty sure it was, because it was after all the shit with Victory Records, and Jeremy wrote this really awesome line that was like, it's never what you've done, it's what you've done lately. Who cares what you're saying if no one's listening? And like, it's so apparent because like you can have this massive history of stuff, but people are always eager to hear the next thing, which is, I guess that's cool about being a musician. It keeps you hungry, I guess. I don't really have any point to what I'm saying. What we're talking about really reminded me of that lyric, and it's like, yeah, everyone's always asking for the next big thing.
Well, that is cool because, like, I mean, it's nice to have, you know, like your first record or whatever be like just the best thing ever. But it's also, I mean, a thorn in your side for the rest of your career. Like, if you come out with like a solid record, like the first record, it kind of stays with you, and everyone's just like always comparing it to that first one. And everyone's record is never going to be as honest as the first one because that's the shit that you write.
Definitely.
For you. You know,
absolutely.
And when you get picked up and you just writing and you're writing on the road and stuff, like their songs are what's current to you. So the struggle is real in the like. That doesn't mean that the ones after don't have the same, you know, kind of oomph to
They're
them.
not as honest. You're like, yeah, I know.
I mean, you know, I feel like everyone's first breakout record usually is like the real stuff. You know,
definitely, yeah. And you're right. It's hard to sort of hang on to that essence as you get older. It's cool to watch bands reinvigorate that stuff, and you know, like decade-old bands. Like we'll use Metallica for an example. I don't really like Metallica that much, but they've lasted for ages. And with probably Tomye, with the exception of Saint Anger, because we bag that out all the time. but they like got to a point and then like changed the direction and then went for that, and then we're still somewhat successful in that decision, you know.
Well, wasn't like Death Magnetic, like they went a bit more back to thrash? Like I remember hearing a couple of tracks from that. I'm like, oh, that's cool. Like that's not.
I only heard the one that was on Guitar Hero.
Yeah. Well, Bring Me's one for that. Like I was on them from Deathcore days.
Yeah.
I got Bring Me tattoos on myself. And then they just dropped Die For You, and it sounds like Bieber, but I still think it's sick. But I mean, for some reason, I go, oh, they're gonna release something that I don't like, but I'm like, they prove me wrong every time. But that's a band that, I mean, every record is just another step, and they're doing something new. I mean, like, personally, you don't want to hear the same band release the same record, just a watered down version of it for 10 records. Like, that shit gets stale. So
I kind of found that with, like, I love them. I think they're an awesome band. Youngbloods is one of my favorite albums, but I kind of felt that way with Amity Affliction after a couple of releases where I was just like, it just feels so samey. But now they've started to change themselves, obviously. Like, in the past few years, they've changed themselves a lot. And
I felt that way as well. And I was a big Severed Ties fan. I mean, I got High Hopes tattooed on my fucking hand.
That's when we used to play with them, man.
Yeah, like... And yeah, Youngbloods was sick, and then I felt like there was a couple like Youngbloods 2 and 3 after that, and then I went off
Chasing Ghosts.
Yeah, I did. Like, it's not like I didn't care. It's just that I was just like, oh, it's not vibing it. And then now all their new stuff is sick. Like I like what they're doing now, man.
Is it Drag the Lake? I like that song.
Sorry?
Drag the Lake, is that what it's called?
Yeah, that's cool. And that Doomsday one was pretty sick. That Ivy.
Doomsday was good.
Pretty cool.
And then their new song's a bit weird. I like it, but it's
different. I didn't mind it either, but like I like that it's slightly different. But at the same time, this isn't a dig at them at all. Like,
no way. We had a problem with this in a previous episode where we said, do Amity Affliction have the headliner status still for Unified next year? Like, not saying that they don't have that status, but I still feel like they're almost at that level of like they still need the big headliner, and then Amity Affliction are just underneath them. You know what I mean? And I was only making like that argument that.
My one input is we both all love them. Do you remember when they dropped Never Alone and everyone was like, this song's so fucking poppy? You know, the song's like, never alone, never. Everyone had like given up on them when they dropped that song because they're changing so much, but we're still talking about them now. So,
well, if you go off with tenure, I mean, they've earned it, man. They've been playing before I was around, and they've been going hard, man. Like that shit takes a toll on you, and like. Yeah, there's probably some bigger bands that, I mean, on that bill, I reckon they're pretty solid in that spot.
Yeah, and that's what we were just asking because we haven't kept up with them, so I wasn't sure about how much power they still had
Dude, you look at merch alone, though. If you walk out and you go somewhat to any show, I guarantee half the kids there are probably wearing Amity or Parkway.
That's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point.
If you go off of like as a business, that band probably sells a lot of merch around the country, and that's one of the reasons why they're still relevant, because you still see it. It's like you're never going to forget, because you walk down the street, Amity T. I just went down to Coles, man. Like this kid, you know what I mean?
It'd be like Silverchair for like the next generation.
Yeah, so, I mean that's a cool thing, man, and they'll probably just keep going.
Well, I think Parkway, it's amazing they're still going too, it's awesome. Like,
dude,
seeing
Australian
bands kill it.
I was in London and I was wearing a Parkway hoodie, and it was from like Killing with a Smile, right? Like, and some kid is just like no one, I didn't think anyone had heard them, and he's just like, dude, like they're my favorite band. I'm like, fucking you heard? I love them.
Yeah.
Like, they were underground, dude, and then now they're just this monster, dude. It's
I liked the old version of Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em though, off the EP that they did, more than the album, to be honest.
Oh, Don't Close Your Eyes.
Does it do with Prom Queen, or am I thinking?
No, this is Parkway. They had they had like Smoke 'Em If You Got 'Em on their EP, and then they did it on their Killing Them. What is it? Killing Them with a Smile. Yeah. They had it on that as well, and they re-recorded it for that album. And I was like, I don't like this version. I like the older version.
I heard it, man.
It's good, man.
I vaguely remember having that EP on my iPod at some point. I think I know what you're talking about, Tom. Yeah, they had it on the EP. There's an intro song, and it's just 3 full stops, and then the song goes for a minute, and it's just some shit going, "I don't want to die."
That's it. Yeah,
I do remember that. I probably didn't have an album cover when I had it on my iPod.
Yeah,
I do remember.
And then it just goes die straight into Smoke 'Em. It's sick.
Awesome.
Yeah, I think I do remember that now.
And it's just good, man. Like seeing Australian bands make their way to an American audience and stuff. And like I was watching some of the punk rock and NBA last night, and he was talking about Emeciaofficial. It's like it's just cool that they've become that level where they're just they're one of those bands in that genre that are killing it, and that's really cool, man. Because it's very hard to do when you're an Australian band to make it over international success.
Yeah, I mean they were playing Warped Tour and stuff, and like I mean. I just think they're doing a sick job, but like who am I? I'm not gonna like slam them about anything.
No way.
They're like, if anything, they're a role model for like how to go about just relentlessly doing it.
I respect that they've been able to just keep everything together for so long, because I know that Joel in the past had his issues and stuff like that, and it's just good to see them be able to like take their problems or issues that they've had in the past and keep bringing out music that helps them deal with those things. And
while we're on the topic, real quick, have either of you guys watched Parkway's new DVD?
No.
It was in the background while I was working one day. It's on Netflix now. Man. I mean,
I'm just trying to plug that for people that haven't watched it. Viva the Underdogs. It's cool.
Good. They still got that vibe of DIY, dude. Even though they're huge, like they still kind of run everything, and that's what I took away from it. I was just like, oh, dude, like they're that invested from like making it as awesome as possible for them. It's not like, oh yeah, let's just go make X amount of dollars for this show at this spot. It's like, how can we make this next level and make this dope? And I think that was cool for me to see. Most definitely.
Real like me having a background in production and stuff. That DVD was definitely more directions towards like the evolution of their live show and stuff like that. So one, it was cool to see them definitely go from like, I remember watching their DVD where they play freaking Boneyards in Sydney, I think it is, and everyone goes off. And then to watch them put on the way they headlined Whackin', it's just like, it was so cool to see an Australian band achieve something of that magnitude. I was really proud of them.
Well, when they went over to Europe, they really adapted to that style, and they started, because they were playing bigger shows to that audience, they did cater the newer records to that, that's just a no-brainer. But those first 2 Parkway documentaries, I'm crowd surfing in both of them. I got long black emo hair and a left Titus drop dead purple shirt, and I was just like, yeah, this is sick.
Before we keep going and getting into some of maybe the hot news topics and having a chat to you about Emecia, of course, we should probably let everyone know that obviously Laura's not here, our other host. She's not well today, so she'll be back next episode.
Get well soon, Laura.
Yeah, I guess so. Take your time.
Yeah.
She's my cousin, so I can have a bit of fun at her expense. But so I don't know. One of the first sort of news topics, we don't really do news. Like I don't read out things and stuff. We just kind of bring up like topics that have happened lately that are interesting in music and kind of just discuss them a little bit. I thought the first one we bring up is the fact that Hasbro now owns Deathrow Records.
Yeah, that's it. That's something, hey, like
a toy company now owns the gangster rap label Deathrow Records.
That's it.
The people that made Mr. fucking Potato Head are now holding Suge Knight's tarnished legacy in their hands.
Maybe they'll make a board game out of it, man. That'd be sick.
Oh, that would be.
That'd be sick.
That would be cool, man. Like, imagine Deathrow Monopoly or something like that. Like, I now own Long Beach Snoop Dogg territory.
Oh yeah, man, that would be just like, but for adults, like something hell gritty. Like,
I think we're onto something. This is cool.
I've been back on the board game train. I bought tonight Jumanji. I've never actually played the game, man.
Dude, I had the original release of that game. The original board game of that when it first came out. I had it.
I never had it, and now I saw it, and I was like, I'm gonna play this.
Yeah, he had it. You got it too, don't you, Cody?
I left it at my old house. Yeah, I was walking through an op shop, and I found it was printed in '95, same year I was born.
That was the one I would have had.
Game. I bought it for $20, but yeah, I left it at my old house.
You were born in '95, man. Oh man, I'm ancient.
I literally just bought it as a display piece. I was like, dude, I need 4 friends to play this with. Where am I going to pull them from?
Oh, okay. It's not. I can't play a 2-player version. No, it's only 4.
You probably could have done it too. I don't know. The version you have would be the exact same. Tell us about it.
It is 4. I think it is 4.
Yeah. Oh no, I know you can play 4. I didn't.
Oh, sorry. Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know if you could play a 2-player.
Oh,
like I say, I just had it as a fucking display piece. I don't know how the game works.
I've never played it, man. Like,
it's cool with the cards when you put them in the center of the thing, and they it's really cool.
Dude, I'm so keen. I'm very keen to play it.
Jumanji's cool, man. I really like the new movies, actually.
I don't know. We'll suss it out. Oh, I'll go get my version. Tom, you can bring up a virtual version. We'll play Jumanji over Zoom.
We'll do a special episode where we just play Jumanji.
Yeah, don't talk anything. Just get angry at each other at play Jumanji.
The whole episode is just me like, how do we play this again?
Suddenly there's rhinoceros fucking running through that room, just killing me. I'm just getting squashed.
Yeah, I mean, I want to see where Hasbro takes this. I think if they do something cool, I hope they do something cool. I hope it's not just like, it's an investment opportunity.
Yeah, they could be making money off the profits from the album, like sales still or whatever.
But, I mean, are they still signing...
No, Deathrow Records is officially done, but they just bought their entertainment company that owns Deathrow Records.
Yeah, cool. Because I'm just picturing like gangsters walking into Hasbro and
Mr. Potato Head.
Yeah, and it's like, it's not really the setting for it, is it?
No. Well, are you a fan of any of that sort of music at all?
Yeah, dude. I listened like 90s hip hop. Yeah, dude. Like Tupac. Very soulful. Jedi Mind Tricks, used to listen to a lot of them. Easy E. I mean, I used to get those mixed up, like kids that would just burn CDs called like Thug Beats and stuff. And put it in your car and just like bop your head to it. I mean,
I'm a huge fan of Dr. Dre. I'm a huge fan of Easy E, Ice Cube. All those guys, like just NWA and whatever.
Yeah, I got Still Dre on vinyl. I saw it at like a cash converters for like $20, and I'm like,
I own one.
Yeah,
I own his new album. I'm not new, but his newest album.
I work there.
If you haven't heard Dr. Dre's newest album, Compton, you should give it a spin, man.
Yeah, sick.
It's a banger. I love it, man.
I mean, I'm always looking at new stuff to put on in the shop or like, on the way to work, like in the commute, man. your downtime to listen to whatever's out. So
yeah, exactly. Well, and just a few things to touch on about the story as well is like, they bought Entertainment One.
Mhm.
That's the company they bought. It took more than $30 million in revenue in the first quarter of 2019.
Yeah.
And basically it said, that they're going to be they're taking on Deathrow, and they're not even like going to disband the name or anything. Like, I'm sure they're still going to make their money from the CD sales and
I can't wait to buy. I can't wait to.
and whatnot, and just
I can't wait to buy a CD with the Hasbro logo on the back.
Yeah, cool.
That'd be funny as, man. I just can't picture it, man. You open up like a Snoop Dogg or Tupac album, and there's just a fucking Mr. Potato Head at Hasbro ad in there or some shit like $29.95. Snoop Dogg says, "If I," you know what I mean? Like,
20% off all. It's like, that's
Snoop Dogg.
Good find, Tom. Good find.
It's got like a joint, and then like, you know, we can open it and use it as a weed stash, you know.
yeah.
But yeah, the other little story we're going to talk about is how R. Kelly is now getting pissed on. If anyone's not familiar, you should be familiar. Everyone knows about what R. Kelly's done, and now he's gone to jail. And
Scott's losing his shit.
So.
Oh man, like it just keeps coming back, man. Like that was big back then, and then every now and then there's like Macklemore dropped that. That line in Thrift Store.
You're right. He can't ever outlive it.
Like my headline, because when I was doing the headlines, I was just like, "Yeah, it's such a good headline to say." So yeah.
And as bad as it is, given all the fucked up shit that he's done, that's kind of what Tom chose to focus on, the fact that he's getting pissed on by
that's
everyone.
Probably the most friendly thing to... Dude, yeah.
It is a dangerous topic, but it's also, as long as you talk about it honestly and responsibly, then that's the way it should be talked about. But anyway, we'll move on to the next one, which is TikTok are now starting a new music streaming service.
That doesn't surprise me because all your music gets... Like when you upload your music to an online distributor, it's one of the options. Same with Instagram. So, I mean, that's quite obvious to someone like me. But
what level do you think it'll be at, though? Do you think it'll be similar to they're going to achieve the achieve the Spotify, Apple Music thing, or do you think that it's going to be a much smaller scale sort of streaming?
I don't know because, honestly, I'm not the age bracket to be talking to about with TikTok. I mean, I downloaded it and watched some stuff, and I put up like 2 videos, and I don't get it. But some songs have like millions of views. Didn't that Kid Laroi get famous on TikTok? Like he's one of the main TikTok songs.
I'm fairly sure he did. Yeah. A couple of the people that I work with, they're all on TikTok because they're all younger than me. But almost every song that comes on the radio, they're like, "Oh, it's a TikTok song."
Yeah, so, that's what I mean. That's what I've heard too. But I'm not. Yeah. I'm not big on TikTok. I mean, I scroll through it, but it's no different to Instagram Reels, and it just reminds me of Vines, but with dancing. And I get personally, I get weirded out watching men and women doing these awkward dances, man. Like I don't get it.
I agree.
I mean, if that's what you're into, man, that's cool. But I'm really off that platform.
I use it a bit, but I only use it in sort of like if I have something I think is funny, like because I'm a film guy and I like doing little skits and things like that. But I mean, I post very rarely on it.
Yeah. Well, I get friends.
I've had some good videos on it. So.
Yeah, I get friends sending me like funny skits, and some of them are like hilarious, dude. And it's like it's very funny, so I can see it being appealing. But
I agree with you. The awkward stuff is so cringy on it. Like, have you seen the dudes that are like 45 that get to like the wife leaves them and they take their wedding rings off crying and then throw it and get like a different angle of like the ring going in the garbage bin, and you're just like, you're 45 years old. What are you doing, man?
I'm kind of glad I haven't seen that.
Yeah, man, check it out. It's pretty hilarious how many dudes have done that video now. It's like,
it's weird. It's weird considering how much bullshit like that is on the platform. Yet when you're trying to start a business or a band or something like that, people are always like, "Oh, make sure you get a TikTok." And it's like, if the only people that are on it are watching videos of people fucking pulling off their wedding rings and stuff like that, it's weird, you know. Like it's such a huge thing, but
I thought I was clever, and I said like I did a video on and I posted it on our Instagram, like in our reels, and it was like how to flood a room for a music video. It was just like snippets of me like turning on a hose and then like filling up a basement, and then my guitarist sliding in there and then picking up his guitar. And I was like, that's pretty cool. No one gave a shit, but.
Man, I've been surprised at some of the view counts I've had on that, which is like 5,000 views, 748 likes, and I'm like, I've never had this on any platform ever, and but I don't plan on trying to grow this much more because I don't really like it, So,
I mean, if you can grow it and then move it to where you want it,
yeah, that's a good idea too, man. Like try to push it to another,
to your YouTube or whatever you're doing. I mean, use the tool while it's popular and then abandon it once you've taken what you can from it, I guess.
Yeah. I'm surprised that another app like Instagram or something hasn't done the music streaming service properly, like, a proper one, because they do have the power to do it,
Well, I mean, they do it with all your stories. You can add all your music. And, that's another thing when you do digital distro. Like, I use Ditto, and I'm sure it's the same. You can just select all stores or digital stores or manually select what you want to do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah,
cool.
So when you post a story and go music on Instagram, you can literally be like Emecia, and it will come up with our songs, and you can put it as a backing track. And I think it counts for plays as well and streams. So
that's cool,
helpful.
man.
That's a tip.
Yeah.
What else is news, Tomye?
Yeah, the next bit of news is
We got anything
we
left?
really got two really major ones, which is
I can't be fucked talking about Marilyn Manson.
Hey, I don't care, man. I don't like Marilyn Manson.
I'm pretty sure we've been on for 40 minutes now, Tom. I'm pretty sure you want to talk about your band, yeah.
We're gonna get to that, man. It's
Sorry. Fuck, Scott. Sorry.
It's a podcast. We're just having a conversation, and we're gonna get to that, bro. Don't worry. Have you seen this? What's going on with MGK versus Slipknot?
Yeah, he's in a bit of hot water, isn't he?
And yeah, we reported on it last episode, and we just were like having a giggle about it. It's not, we're not trying to be like, oh, shock and awe, but
I'm not surprised.
It's escalated now to him fighting with the crowd, and that's kind of a weird move to go for, I guess. I don't know.
I mean, dude blew up real quick. I mean, he's been making, like I said, he's been making music. I mean, he was doing pop punk before hip hop. I think people don't realize that.
I love MGK, by the way. I'm just going to say that.
Oh, no. Yeah. I think he's acting like a spoiled brat, but I mean, I still like his stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
Go throwing stones at like OG people in the music industry and expect them to be like, oh, whatever. Like,
especially someone as respected as Corey Taylor from Slipknot.
I appreciate Slipknot, but I was never a huge fan. But the dude can write a song, dude. And I watched them live. I watched them live at Soundwave, and I was like, I get it because I saw it live and it's different, like on record. And then I do like listen to them, but I was never a band that I was more into the emo stuff.
Slipknot were my favorite band in primary school, bro, and the self-titled and Iowa albums were
I watched the documentary, and that's a sick documentary. I mean, like, I mad respect for them. It's just, I
kind of fell off after Volume 3 because I didn't think it was the same anymore,
I can't believe MGK actually, fought a fan. It's crazy.
Dude, it's just cringy. Like,
I also agree with what you're saying, Scott, and the way that Corey's a pioneer of the genre. And I don't know the full ins and outs of the story, but they agreed to meet up to do a song on his album, as I'm pretty sure you know. And it didn't work out. And for whatever reason, there was a whole bunch of shit talking and stuff after that. And whether it was MGK saying, Corey, you can't sing for shit, or Corey being like, I don't like the shit you're doing, or whatever it is, I'm surprised they couldn't just realize as musicians that they're doing different things, and not have to go at it. That's such a personal thing,
Because I like different bands, and I don't know how true this is, but this is what I heard. Bring Me and Limp Bizkit were meant to work together, I think, a couple of years ago. And apparently they just didn't rock up to writing, or something happened. And then that single they've got with Danny Filth, it just sounds like that riff is very, very Limp Bizkit. And I think
like
it was made for them, and it didn't work out. but nothing blew up. It wasn't like, you know what I mean? Like they weren't slandering each other.
How do you feel about Limp Bizkit?
Not what I saw anyway. I mean, I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure something went down. But like, you don't see them dragging each other through the mud.
No, exactly.
I'm honestly surprised at Corey for like giving MGK the light of day to be like, yeah, okay, I'll actually jump on one of your songs, because you're right. Like, he kind of did blow up overnight. And if you listen to freaking Tickets to My Downfall versus the shit Tom was talking about before in Iowa and stuff, it's like, how the fuck could you mix Corey going at it with MGK singing the way he does at the moment as well? It would be a weird mix to try and pull off.
He's been doing hip hop, like, because I think Corey Taylor dropped a song a while back called Corey Taylor Can't Be Motherfucking Stopped or something.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So, I mean, maybe that was for that project and not necessarily directly with Slip. I don't know, man. Like,
fair call. No, fair call.
Everyone's just like collaborating with everyone.
Tom wants to know if you like Limp Bizkit. Because Tom loves them.
I froth them.
That's so good to hear, man.
Dude, Ready to Go, I thought I found a new song like a few years back, and it's old as hell, but it's just a single with Lil Wayne, and it just comes in. And, dude, Wes Borland is a genius. I've said this on interviews before.
I hate that this shade thrown at him so much now, and I keep going, everyone hates him so much. How did hot dog flavored water get so massive and they came out as the head? I think you're all forgetting how much you like Limp Bizkit. You know what I mean?
That album had a lot of swear words. He said fuck so many times. On
that first song.
That record, because they're like, I have this song. I have this record because they swear. And you're just like, oh shit, your parents let you buy that? Nah, I love
the opening track, how he actually says, if I say fuck 2 more times, that's 46 fucks in this fucked up, right? That's just so great, you know what I mean? But yeah, I think they're awesome, man. I just think they get unfairly.
That's why I wasn't allowed to listen to them growing up.
Yeah.
What were you saying?
Sorry?
I was saying I haven't caught them live. I don't know how. I don't know if I've just never been around when they've been in town. I just, it's one of those bands slipped through the radar, man.
I've seen them twice now.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
What I was saying is I wasn't allowed to listen to them growing up. There was too much swearing and shit. My parents were so strict on what music I could listen to. So even Tom talking about freaking Hasbro and Deathrow and whatnot and all the name dropping and shit, I wasn't allowed to listen to any of that shit. Because my parents wouldn't let me listen to it.
You have to fill me in on what bands are on Deathrow Records. And I was like, it's not bands, man. This is like the West Coast rap gangster label, Deathrow Records. So,
because I'm a little younger, I feel not as contextual as like older stuff.
Oh, dude. I mean, yeah, it just depends. I mean, like some people, and it doesn't matter if you're around that time, you may not have listened to it anyway. I mean,
that's a very good point, actually.
Groups, man. Like my school was very punk. Like I grew up listening to Middlin, Offspring, and like whatever the older kids were listening to was punk. So that's what was cool at my school. And then from
I guess the punk stuff I listened to growing up was like Good Charlotte, Yellow Card, stuff like that. Yeah.
Yeah, so anyway, that was pretty. We had another news story about Marilyn Manson, but me and Cody don't really like him that much anyway, so we're just gonna skip that one.
Breaking news: fuck Marilyn Manson. There you go.
Yeah. As I said, he's got a couple of songs that are okay, but he's still.
I probably can't say that. Actually. Whatever.
So let's move on. So anyway, man, tell us a bit about your band, man, Emecia.
Yeah, I mean, we're local Adelaide bands. I still think we're kind of still pretty small. But yeah, we've been around for a while, man, like almost 8 or 9 years probably.
Oh, I didn't know you were around that long. That's decent as, man. That's really good.
2013, I think we dropped our first EP. Like, I mean, nice. Yeah, we've only started to really get any attention now. So when people are like, oh, how's it feel like you're blowing up? I'm like, nah, we're not.
Feels like a long fucking time coming.
What do you think helped you suddenly start getting attention? Was it like new material, or was it just that you'd been around that long that you feel like people had gotten to know you over the years that it's become a big mass of people now? You know what I mean?
It's funny because, I mean, obviously use PR companies, and we have in the past before. Like for our album, we used evergreen artists, and they like helped get us. Like we were on MTV, we were on
Nice.
Australia. Who I don't think anyone watched MTV Music anymore anyway. So I mean, if that was 10 years ago,
It's cool claim to fame, I guess.
Yeah, no, it's still cool. I mean, like I can tell younger Scott, yeah, man, I was on MTV, and he'd be like, you're a fucking liar. But I mean, I did it, man. Like milestones, but. Yeah, I mean, what's different is about 2 years ago, we just really started writing for us because, like, we were never a cool band. We were never heavy enough for the deathcore kids, and we were too heavy for the pop punk kids, and we just never slotted in. So it was always difficult to be on shows and tours with other people. We tried, man. I DIY, dude, all the way, and. Yeah, we'd book our own tours, and then we'd put bands on for interstate, and they'd crash at my house, like bigger band. They're big now. I'm not going to go through who they are, but like they never return the favor, and it kind of sucked. And then our friends that we were touring with would go tour with the bands that we've like worked our asses off with, and we're just like, what's wrong? Like
that really sucks, honestly.
Like, is it our music? Like we sell merch, like which is sick. Like we move that, and that's cool. And I'm like, on paper, as a business, it looks good. But are we a merch company, or are we just like, are we making music, or are we just a merch company that just has songs? Like, because that's what it felt like for a while.
Mm-hmm.
And we just started writing songs for
sense.
ourselves, man. Like the songs that got dropped over the last month or so, they're like 2 years old. I was in the studio 2 years ago writing them, and then we were meant to release stuff and videos. Like we had cartoons made and stuff. They were horrible. I mean, the dude that did Kanye's video, Gambino, that company. And so I was like, sick. I'm going to do something different because there's a pandemic, and we'll drop like a cartoon video. And people were like, yeah, this is new. That just went sideways real quick. And then we couldn't get together to actually do videos and stuff. So I'm ranting. Sorry.
No, fine, man.
So good.
I'm enjoying listening, man. It's
and
good.
then we just dropped a couple of songs. Our first feature, Nathan from 2319, a very heavy vocalist. I never thought when I pictured a feature, I always thought of a singer, like a clean singer. I never really thought of doing something heavy. And then my guitarist Trevor wrote a filthy breakdown. And I was like, oh man.
I remember when the like headlining song dropped. It was I can't remember the name of it, but it was a fucking banger. And then learning that their band names after a fucking scene in Monsters Inc. I was like, dude, what?
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I got a 2319. Yeah, it's
like legit. Tom, like their band name is like, Monsters Inc. when the chick's sock or whatever, the human sock, and they're like, we got a 2319. That's what the fucking band's named after.
Yeah, cool. I didn't even think about that actually.
Yeah.
Cool. I was trying to think of the reference before you said it. I was like, Monsters Inc. 2319.
Yeah, it's very cool. No, they're a solid band. They're very heavy. They're quite popular. I mean, I really like them. It's funny because like heavy music in Adelaide's always been very popular, and we were never a heavy band. We were always like too emo or whatever, and now that emo's cool, we're suddenly a heavy band, and that's cool. It's just weird, man. Like people's tastes change, so I don't know what's happening because every couple of days someone wants to chat to me, which is sick. It's really cool, but I don't know if it's just.
I can't speak to your personal accolades or anything, but it's probably just the fact that you've stuck it out for 8 or 9 years, man. You've fucking done your time,
Well, yeah, I don't know. Like most bands, like you look at Jet, they popped after 10 years. Like at the 10-year mark, they play open, big day out, and then the following year they were headlining it, man. That's crazy. Like that's gone. Like, and then after that, I think they made it, and they're like, you know what, we're done. We're going out on a high, and that's sick, man. Like. But I mean, if it happens, all we've ever wanted to do is tour, man. Like, and just play shows, like, and have fun. But I mean, it's hard. We just found it hard.
It is hard, man. It is hard. Having experience in bands doing all that sort of stuff and getting big shows and all that stuff, I've done a fair bit of it. But like, to get to that sort of next level, Where
the jump is drastic, man, because my friends that are in good bands are in bands that are too big for me to play with, which is sick for them. And then the bands that I know, we don't have that relationship with people at the same level as us. That being said, and I will talk about it, first time ever, I'm liaising with a tour for next year, an East Coast tour, which is in the works now, which is all we ever wanted, which is really sick. So hopefully that goes ahead.
Yeah, man, I'll be there.
Yeah, so East Coast. So if we're in your neighborhood, come down. We'll have a beer and have a chat in person. But
hopefully we're going by then, and maybe eventually we can start playing supposedly, you know.
Do you know if you guys are hitting any places in Central Queensland yet? That's where I'm from.
I get confused where, like, the East.
If you guys are playing fucking Gladstone, Rockhampton, Bundaberg, anything like that.
Yeah. So what are the popular venues there? So I know the venues. So what's like the club venues? So like I know like we're doing like.
I honestly don't even remember. That's just where I'm from. Back in the day, bro, our gigs were at the local tennis club. We had like freaking
cool.
make them suffer came and like played heavy shit at our local tennis club.
I'll flick you the venues we're playing over there. So
sweet man.
Like,
we'll plug it for you.
They're not going to be announced though. Like not for a while until we lock in everything. But yeah, I'll definitely, because I can't remember, because I was just like, this is sick. Like. Yeah. Where you want to play? I'm like, couldn't give a shit. Like,
pretty much. I don't have to handle that shit. Organize it for me. I'll be there. I get it, man.
Like, how's this for rates? I'm like, whatever, dude. Like, it's not about the money. I mean,
it isn't, man. It isn't. I mean, if I was doing music for the money, then it'd be a pretty sad thing for me to keep on and still be doing it.
Wise business decision,
because I've done it for so long. You know?
Constantly hemorrhaging money, and you're like, this isn't a smart investment.
It's not a smart investment, but nothing feels better than investing in a great recording. And when you hear those tracks back and you're like, there's nothing like that sort of feeling when you create something and you hear it and the smile comes across your face in the studio with all your bandmates. And it's something special to that, you know, and nothing can replicate it in my opinion, you know.
I always get super nervous, like before you drop something, like, is anyone going to care? And then it comes a point where you're just like, do I even care that people care? Because like, I'm just wanting to drop it and go, well, here it is, listen to it. And if you like it, hit me up and say whatever and have a chat. So I do enjoy chatting with everyone about and it's just little things, man. But yeah, I was just in the studio yesterday. My guitarist was there today finishing off. We just done a couple more singles as well. So we're just going to try and be a bit more frequent with dropping tracks.
Can you say what producer you're working with, or are you just doing it yourselves?
So we usually use Andy Kite at Against the Grain. Still DIY. All our songs are through him pretty much.
That's awesome.
Bo
McKee?
Sorry?
Have you heard of Bo McKee? He was the drummer in Closure in Moscow.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he played with him in Perth. That was sick.
Yeah, he produced the last EPs I did for my older bands. He's really, really talented at drumming and producing, man. So
I've read something somewhere when they released their first album, they like sold everything, like their houses and stuff. Like,
they sold their houses, their cars, all their property, and moved overseas. Basically, and they lived there. He told me stories of like him touring with Emery, living in houses with the guys from scaring kids.
Yeah,
and stuff like that. So it's pretty cool, man.
I think the drummer from Scaring Kids is like Mod's son. Like, dude, you seen him popping around? He's dating Avril Lavigne.
Oh yeah.
I'm pretty sure he was the drummer for them.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah,
that is weird.
You mean the rapper Mod's son?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure. I could be completely wrong.
No, I wasn't sure if I misheard. That's dope as fuck. What the hell?
I didn't fact check it. So, how long you been before the band, man? Like, before you got into the band, like, when did you find out that you were a singer or you wanted to be a singer, or when did you find out that you had a voice to be a singer? You know what I mean?
All good questions, all with terrible answers. So, the first time I ever wanted to be a singer, I saw It's Dangerous Business walking out your front door by Under Oath, and I was like, this stuff is cool. Spencer is the coolest dude in the world, and I'm like, that guy. So he's the first person I saw that made me want to be a front man. But I tried out for heaps of bands, man, before mine, and I was always rejected. Always say, oh, weird fit, don't sound like everyone else, that kind of stuff. And then I just made my own bands, man. I don't consider myself a singer. I don't think I can sing very well. I feel I'm more of a performer. Like I'm a vocalist. Like I scream, I sing, and I try and put on a show. If you put me on merit of singing alone, I'm probably not going to be up there with who's going around the country at the moment. But I mean, as a performance, yeah, man, like I try and entertain.
Well,
that's awesome. I think you maybe find, just real quick, Tom, I think you maybe find a lot of people that have to put heaps of effort into how they sound when they sing. It would detract a lot from their on-stage performance. So it's, yeah, sick.
The good thing that I'm hearing from this is that you learnt to make your voice work for what you needed, and that's what I think is key about being a vocalist. I mean, we've already spoken about it, but Fred Durst, I mean, he's not a vocalist. He's not great. He's not good at all. But he made it work for the music that they do. And there's plenty of examples of vocalists out there that just aren't the best vocalists, but they nail what they do for the position they do in the band. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
and that's,
I feel like number one's for people that like talk, sing, and that grinds my gears. But at the same time, I mean, like, good on them. Like, it's working for them. Like, and that's the thing. Like, I tried so long with trying. Like, I was in bands where they wanted me to be a certain singer, and it was never everything that came out was never right or organic, and never really sounded right. And now, definitely in the last 3-4 years, I've really been focusing on just doing it me, because me replicating someone else, I'm never going to do it as good as them anyway.
Do you think?
Do
you think that maybe helped you with like your on-stage presence and like being able to come into yourself and stuff, not having to try and sound like someone else, being able to actually like do your own fucking thing? Does it help you like let loose a little bit more?
Yeah, because like when you're being you, there's no pressure, man. You're already you.
That's it.
So,
yeah.
So I mean, I just try and I am reading and talking at the same time. I just try and do what I got to do, man. Like I put on a show, make sure people watching are enjoying it. The fans that come to see me are getting what they pay for, and the people that haven't seen me go, these guys are cool. Like my bass player Nick is like the most quietest dude ever. You have him in a room, won't make a peep, and you put a bass in his hands, man, and he's wielding it like an axe, man. If he hits me, I'm dead. Like he's relentless. It's sick.
It's like, interesting to
hear that. Hell.
It's super interesting to hear that, because one, I'm probably never gonna be as good at bass as him, but I used to play bass in bands, and I was exactly the same. Because I played the bass, I'm like, yeah, dude, I'll just stand here, play my notes, whatever. No one's looking at me anyway, you know. And then I'm trying to be vocalist in this band with Tomye. So like I don't know, I had like stage presence and stuff from playing bass, but it's weird going from someone who's more than content to just stand in the back to being like, there's 2 vocalists in our band, but like one of the people is like engaging with the crowd and stuff like that, to all that type of stuff. It's I'm looking forward to being able to express that charisma and stuff, but at the same time, it's still out of my comfort zone.
Yeah, dude, I mean, that's not a bad thing. I mean, if you're out of your comfort zone, it gives you something to work on as well. I mean, I very struggled with, like, our songs can be quite full on, and when we have a certain arrangement of songs, they can be quite difficult for me to do. I mean, I can sing that, but I can't put on the show that I want. And now that I'm with my guitarist Trevor, he's singing a lot more. He's got a really cool, angsty voice. I mean, he hates his voice, but to me, he sounds like the dude from At the Drive-In. It's really cool. So
nice.
We're doing we've been playing with dual vocalists, and like, just so I have some breathing room, and then I can perform better, because I'm not doing every section of every song all the time. And then that way, I don't have to be singing the whole song all the time and filling that noise. Like,
and probably like probably like hearing the emotion and the whatever it is in the other person's voice, that'd help you vibe into it more as well. Because, you know, that's one of the things I love the most about playing with other people. I used to try and do solo acoustic stuff and whatnot. It was cool. Yes. But I really love just like vibing with other people, because you can tell when other people are going to get into stuff, and it's just like an extra invigorating thing.
Yeah, I love it. Even like when my band members like just do backing vocals, like they're not even on that song or anything, but they just jump in because of that stoked. I'm like, yeah, that's my boy. He's backing me up, you know, like, yeah, sick. Thanks. I really needed that breath. So, you know.
Have you played any other instruments?
I dabbled in a bit of guitar. Like I did guitar lessons when I was a kid. And then when I was in high school, like there's like 27 guitarists, 1 drummer and 2 bass players. And then I was like, well, obviously I'm not going to get into a band as a guitarist. So I just tried singing, like, because there was room. I don't know. I was just headed that direction. So it's not like someone went, hey, front my band. It was like, oh, in high school, that was what was available.
Yeah, cool. Yeah. And have you guys like, I just got endorsed as a drummer by Soultone Cymbals, and I asked a big Australian drummer on Instagram how he goes about getting sponsorships, endorsements, things like that, and he was like, "Bro, first of all, you're not going to get endorsed at the level you're at," which, you know, he's just trying to be honest. And he's like, "There's COVID. What are you advertising for them? Where are you playing? Like, it's just not something that it's not going to happen for you where you're at your level." And I was like, look, I'm going to reach out and I'm going to try anyway, because what's the worst that can happen? They're going to answer me or they're going to say no. You know what I mean? And I reached out and I got Soultone interested in supporting me, and now I'm on them. And do you guys have any, like, you know, sponsors, endorsers, that sort of thing?
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because like like my opinion is never ask for free shit, because people just tell you to jog on, man. So
yeah, that's what I wasn't asking for either. I was just like,
that's what. Yeah, I'm not saying you did. I said that's what it sounded. That's what it sounded like you were saying. But like, I got my old drummer Pete. I emailed Inferno Music, who just they do Truth drums.
Yeah, I emailed them too.
Yeah, so we emailed them, and I filled it out for him. It's like, dudes, what can we do for you? And then, they gave my drummer an endorsement. He got a custom kit. I mean, he still paid a very heavily discounted rate for an old stock custom kit, which is sick. And then they hooked him up with merch and sticks and stuff. But it wasn't like him paying. It wasn't like he got all that for free. He paid for it. But that's
exactly what I have to do, man. I have to pay, but I get a heavy discount, you know? So
yeah, I know, and that's sick. I mean, for a drummer, man, if anyone's going to have an endorsement in the band, it should be the drummer. Because, like...
Yeah, man, cymbals are shit. They're so expensive. Like...
They're like $500. You break something, it's like minimum $500, man. Like, that's a lot of money.
And that's usually for, like, you know, not even the top quality cymbal as well, you know what I mean? Like, that's just usually like heavily manufactured cymbals, like Sabian or whatever, which they're great cymbals. I'm not saying anything bad about them, and they are good for being manufactured, but they're not like handcrafted Turkish cymbals like, say, Soultone or someone does like that, you know?
Yeah, exactly right. I mean, if you're going to use that product and you can get discounted for it, that's sick. Like I heard a podcast with Aaron Gillespie from Under Oath. He was recording the album. Recording an almost record. And he's obviously endorsed, I'm pretty sure, Zildjian, and he's never had to pay for cymbals. And he drove 16 hours to record a record in a house at Joshua Tree because that's what he wanted to do. But he left his cymbal bag at home, and then he had to buy his own cymbals, and it cost him like $2,000. And he's just like, couldn't believe how much it was just for a setup. And like, you know, he was like, I don't have money for this because I'm using all my money to record a record in the middle of nowhere.
When I saw the price of what Soultone cymbals are going for, I just was shocked, man, because I was like, I mean, there was only one ride that I could find that's like mine in the country, and it was like 2 inches smaller, and it was like $900. And I'm like, what is this price? So I'm stoked that I was managed to get a good discount, you know. And I just like hearing if other bands have got support like that too, because it's always worth, as I said, that guy said I would never get sponsored, but it's always worth trying if you believe in yourself enough, you know.
Yeah, exactly. And there's no harm like in asking. Like at the moment, like I'm just I love +2. Like like I said, I'm 6'8", and they do a lot of tall tees. And like,
whoa, you're 6'8", bro.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, man.
That's huge.
Come play basketball for my team, bro.
Yeah, I get that every place I go. But
I'm sure you do.
Yeah, but yeah, like I reached out and just like said like, I just sent them a couple of photos, man. Like I said, and then they saw that I've been playing in their t-shirts, and they post, and they're like, support local music and stuff. And like then because I posted so many photos, they're like, oh, what's your address? We'll send you out something cool. I mean, but I've already spent money with that company, and I'll probably still buy their clothes regardless on if I get discount or they keep slinging me free shirts from time to time. But I just think it's cool that I'm a little dude in a small town and they're still supporting local dudes in small towns. Like it's cool. Like it's cool. Like I help bands underneath me. If they ask me for advice, like what should we be doing? Yeah, it probably comes across brutal, but I'm only helping you because I spent 5 years figuring it out.
You have the practical experience to be able to suggest shit. Like,
well, I had a mentor in music. There was a band in Adelaide called Far West Battlefront. They were very heavy, and they did very well. And the frontman of that just, I don't know, he took a shine to me. We're still very good friends. We meet for coffee. Nice. And he kind of was giving me cheat codes with the DIY thing, and it helped me. It helped me, and I passed that on. I don't keep that to myself and go, nah, man, I got this. Like, you can't have it.
Yeah, well, I didn't really see. The weird thing is about how I came into the music scene was like I was just a drummer in high school. I was in music class, drumming with some mates, like making songs and stuff. And I was like, you got to check this band out called The Used. And everyone was like, okay, I'll check them out. And my mate checked them out. He was like, yeah, I like it. I want to do stuff like that. I reckon I can scream. I was like, Ted, you reckon you can scream? And he was like, yeah, I reckon. And it just worked out that like we kind of fell into being one of the first bands in that scene to go for the Used sound and stuff. It was like early 2004, you know, maybe late 2003, you know. So we just kind of got to the moment. So I've never really had a mentor, but now lately I've just started getting lessons to try and, you know, change my technique up a little bit, try to learn some new tricks and stuff here. Even though I've been playing for over 20 years, I still think it's good to go get lessons. And I've been getting lessons through Dan Kirby, the drummer of Bliss and Esso.
Yeah, sick, man. Flying Colours, that record? That's amazing.
He was the drummer in Behind Crimson Eyes as well.
They messaged our band on Instagram ages ago.
Yeah.
And it was random as hell. They're like, yeah, sick tunes, man. Maybe we'll play together. I'm like, no fucking way.
Oh, that's awesome. And he also drums
PR dude. PR dude just talking to people, but still, like little things like that, man. I love hearing that stuff.
Yeah, he was also the drummer for Unwritten Law's Australian tour.
Oh, dude, that was a name I used to see around all the time.
Yeah, and he also just did the Jimmy Fallon show for Masked Wolf's performance of Astronaut in the Ocean.
Oh, no shit.
So if you go on YouTube and look up like Jimmy Fallon, Astronaut in the Ocean, Masked Wolf, he's the drummer on that performance, man. It's really cool. That's cool. It's just cool having a mentor like him go to you, this is what you need to do. Now try doing it like this, loosen your wrists a bit more and stuff, and just try to even get you in check even after you've been drumming for 20 years. Like make sure you're still snappy. And
I'm very open to criticism. Like I had a mate come over and help me track pre-pro, and he's quite knowledgeable with music, and I was singing and stuff, and he's like, I'll try doing this with your mouth and changing the way I sing, and it's helped me. And that was just because he's like, I'll try doing this, and I have, and it's made my life heaps easier. So that's sometimes awesome. You just need to do a little refresher course. I mean, I've been singing and yelling in bands for ages, but you know, you kind of go on autopilot.
I'm super new to it all, so I'm super keen to work with people in studios and stuff because I've always just sung in my bedroom, you know.
Yeah, I mean, Zenna Screaming came out with Melissa Cross back in the day on how to yell and stuff.
Yeah.
kind of just went to my bedroom and just screamed into my pillow. My voice hot enough to break because I had a really high voice, and I'd be like, ah, and then like how I kind of got going. Like wait till my parents left to just into a fucking pillow, man. So
I used to drive around.
I used to do that, but just when I was pissed off.
just teen angst.
Yeah, I used to drive around and listen to music like full volume, and I'd like pelt out the vocals, like belt them out as hard as I could to myself, like in the car. Yeah. And as I said to Cody the other day when we saw each other, I was like, I know how to sing, like I know how to hit the key, I know the notes, I know how to use my diaphragm, but I don't have a good voice, and that's why I'll never be a singer. You know what I mean? I sound like an idiot, but I know it's not easy, man, and I especially don't know how to scream. Like I wouldn't know how. So
me neither. I'm like I said, I'm glad Ash does the screams in our band, Tom.
Yeah. And what's some of the highlight tours or shows you've been a part of, bro?
Boys of Summer.
That's awesome.
Yeah, that was with Colin Morale, Bless the Fall. Prepared like a bride when they were around.
Is it the bride?
On it, but I don't think that they'd come on that tour. I mean, that was a really big show for us. I thought that was cool because I used to go to those back in the day. I've actually got a Boys of Summer tour with Every Time I Die and 50 Lions behind me.
My mates went on the Boys of Summer tour.
That was really cool. And lately, I went to.
There you go. Here you go. Have we got some delay?
Sorry, man. You just glitched out for a second.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool.
I was going to say, yeah, that tour, that show was real big, and the most recent one would have been the Getaway Plan, Dream On.
Yeah, Dream On Dream are awesome, man.
With Ocean Sleeper on it as well. That was pretty sick.
That's awesome, man. I remember one of the first Boys of Summer tours that were organised through Destroy All Lines, and I think it was like House versus Hurricane and all that, and then it was like City Escape, which is one of my mates' bands that was from Melbourne as well.
Mary Jane Kelly was on that one, weren't they?
Yep,
or was that
one? That was it. That was the year. That was a long time ago, man. But that was like one of the first, wasn't it?
That song, I Stab God on the Back by Mary Jane Kelly. So good. Also, funny thing, I bring that band up because I got an email about 3 weeks ago. They re-released their last album, and they put it on Bandcamp, and it got me a free download, which was random because they broke up before they did the tour for that album.
Oh.
But I just thought it was weird. I got an email going, they've re-released the album. Here you go. This is free.
That's really cool.
Random as hell, but really cool. Yeah.
That is really cool, man. And like, I don't know, have you become any like good friends with any of these like art bands that you played with? Like I mean, I'm mates with one of the old members from the Getaway Plan, Benny Chong. I'm mates with Chris Shaw from House versus Hurricane / Dream on Dreamer. He actually was the first band he got into was our band, and we like got him into the scene, and then he went and joined House versus Hurricane. So have you become good mates with anyone through the touring and stuff like that?
Yeah. So. Yeah, I don't like name dropping, hey, but well, those bands. Not throwing you under the bus, man.
No, of course.
Well, Dream on Dreamer crashed at my house a few times.
That's awesome.
We used to support them. Saviour stayed at my house a couple of times. We had the same merch company from Perth, and they'd get rock up in their huge camper Winnebago thing, and then load up merch, and then hit the road.
Name dropping isn't a big thing because it's like you guys were just mates,
Yeah, I mean,
I'm just trying to give people the props they deserve as well. You know what I mean? Like, people
but I don't talk to those guys anymore. Like when we played and headlined over in Perth like 4 years ago, Bryant still came out and watched us and said hey, which was sick.
That's cool.
Like I said, I haven't talked to that dude in forever.
Do you remember Alora Dannon?
The band
Alora Dannon?
Yeah, I remember the band name, but
are they from Perth or South?
I think so. I believe so. Yeah.
I thought of them because they were always playing with, like back in the day with City Escape and bands like that. You know what I mean? I just haven't heard of them for a while. So,
they're people that I've liaised with or stayed at my house. I guess I would say that the Brave, the two dudes, Kurt and Dan flew them over and they shot my wedding. Believe it or not. Really cool.
That's awesome.
I showed them our album for the first time. I was driving to take them to dinner. I'm like, be brutally honest, and they were, and it was cool and sucked at the same time. But you know, like I asked for it. Real cool.
So roast me, boys.
Roast me.
It's hard when you get attached to like songs you've written, but like when someone comes along and knows what they're talking about and they tell you, look, I know you're attached, but this part needs to change, or you need to have a bit of this. It's hard to get away from like feeling hurt, but you kind of got to look at it and go, well, this is what coming from someone who knows what's best, you know?
They were thorough too, because I remember one of our songs on the album, Familiar Spirits, he was listening to, he's like, now this section, Scott, are you going to be singing this? Because that transition's pretty close and you're doubling up on yourself. And I'm like, yeah, man.
Holy shit, Tom, how much did he just seem like Dan from our band?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, Scott.
I just don't know the reference. But so he did that, and I'm like, yeah, man, my guitarist will sing those bits when I scream. And he's like, yeah, cool. He's like, yeah, there's nothing worse than doing stuff on record that you can't replicate. And I do get that. I agree with that to some extent.
And do you guys have much like sort of do you have much like stuff that you have like running for backing tracks and stuff like synthy stuff that you put on stage?
Yeah, we do. So we've got like some orchestral pieces / like electronica snippets. We do that. Drummer plays to a click, and then we run our own little mixing desk. And then we kind of
that's cool.
It's very similar. Oh, sorry.
It's not always easy to do. You know, like you need either performing member of the band, like you know the drummer to hit the drum pad or whatever, which is simple enough. But you know, and adding all those other incorporating things isn't always easy. You guys have been doing it for ages, obviously, so it's a piece of fucking cake. But like, it's cool. It sets you apart from the other.
Yeah, I mean, it's a puzzle. I mean, I think we run a very similar setup to Polaris. I mean, my old drummer was a massive fanboy, and they like to, like those boys. My band will talk tech with stuff, and I just look like toddler. Oh yeah, dude. I have a SM58 and I yell into it, and that's sensitive. But I mean, then I talk about cars and stuff because I used to be a mechanic, and they're just like, I have no idea what to talk about. So I mean, it's all relative to what you're in. I'm trying to learn. Like I've got recording software. I use Logic at home.
That's what
we use Logic, yeah.
Yeah, and I got an SM7B. I think that's a mic, like a decent like studio mic for home. So I'm starting to track and record myself. So I'm kind of trying to make myself irreplaceable. Because
learning all that home studio stuff's just fun within itself. Like again, I've got a background in live and stuff, but when it gets to home studio shit, I've got no fucking clue. You know, like I just hit record on my MacBook and like sing into it. I don't even have a USB mic. You know. I
mean, it's fun, man. Like
it is fun.
Yeah, and like I used to put heaps of pressure on myself and be like, this sounds like crap. Like, and then I get frustrated and never do it. And I'd always come back to trying to do it. I'm at a spot where I'm confident as a vocalist, and with the knowledge, like my guitarist, like Trevor, he's very patient with teaching me stuff. It's cool.
That's good, man. It's good to have patient band members, because when you've got people that are like impatient and you're like in the studio having a hard time laying down something or whatever, I know it can get frustrating or whatever, but it's good when you're a tight unit where you let each other get it done however
we've got an unsaid rule where like it doesn't matter what your suggestion is, we always kind of try it, and like if we hear it and it works, sick, and if it doesn't work, well, we gave it a shot and it doesn't fit. And so like I think everyone's very open with like making suggestions. Like I do stuff with guitar parts and stuff. I don't play, but I go, oh, how about on this tail of this riff you move it here, or you do this.
That's kind of what I do.
Oh, give it a go, or humor me. But sometimes it makes a record, you know.
Yeah, that can, man. It can, and being open to trying different things is always a good thing when you're a band too, man. Because I know that when you try to close yourself off too much, that's when you get what we were talking about before, which is where things become sounding the same all the time, and you kind of got to branch out to create new, you know.
I mean, if you have a successful algorithm that works for your band, I guess it can be easily, you get trapped in writing songs a certain way because you're like, well, this is what they like. But at the same time, you don't want to become monotonous where you're just releasing different versions of the same thing. So
yeah, of course,
it is a bit of a tricky situation you can get yourself into. But I mean, it's just writing, man. Like I write to what I'm feeling at the time and what's relevant to me at the time. I don't try and pick topics that go, oh yeah. Like I made a joke on my Instagram a couple of days ago, like, should I write a song about the ocean? Yes or no? I got a few comments about meteor affliction and stuff like that. And I've gone almost 10 years without writing a song about it. But maybe that's why we're not popular, you know?
Should I write a song called Anchors?
No, that wasn't me. Yeah. But like, you know what I mean? Like maybe that's the reason. Maybe if I drop it on the track, you're gonna see a lot more of me. But
yeah. Oh, cool, man. And
you
yeah,
can
that's
do
what I
it.
wanted
You
to
can do it, man. Just write about how soft and tranquil the waves are, or something.
We're Australians, man. Like I'm in the cove. I'm in a cove, dude. Like,
dude, if I was gonna write a song about the ocean right now, the lyric would be like, "I'm in Melbourne. I wish I could go to the ocean."
Like even Getaway Plan, where the city meets the sea, dude. Like
yeah, well, that's it. Yeah.
It's magic.
Yeah, I'd write the song. I'd be like, I sometimes like to go to the beach and the sea when it's hot. That'd be my lyrics. But you got anything coming up?
So much potential.
You got anything coming up in the next couple of months or stuff that you're looking forward to that you can share with us, or?
Yeah, so November 20th, we are doing a singles release show at the Adelaide Uni Bar with 2319, Signals, Nocturnal Animals, and Akura.
That's cool.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I didn't miss anyone. I don't want to be that guy. But yeah, we're really stoked for it. We haven't really done a headline release show since our record in 2018, pandemic and stuff like that. So
understandable.
Cap numbers still, but they assure me it's going to open. I'm not fussed. I'm just keen to play a standing show again.
Yeah, that's what we're keen to do.
20 years there, it's irrelevant to me. I think I just need to.
If you can be bothered, can you see if a friend of the band can stream the set on Facebook or something like that?
I thought you were going to ask to be put on the door, and I was like, really? Like, yeah, of course, I'll do it. Because I know, but yeah, there's always that one person like, yo, dude, can I just get a door spot? I'm like, tickets are $10, dude.
Yeah, nah.
All I got to do is stay at the door, and I'll get $2 off anyway.
I use tour spots for girlfriends, or when my mum was loving to come and to watch me and stuff like that.
Mums and dads.
Yeah. Exactly. And have you got are you working on any music videos sort of ideas coming out, or any new music? You just said you're in the studio, working on new songs. Have you got an idea of when they're going to come out or anything?
Well, I guess we'll be touring. Well, the plan is to tour next year, so it'll be a single drop for the tour. Whether we drop more before then, I'd like to. I mean, we wrote almost a record in the 10. Adelaide had 9 to 10 week lockdown. So me and my guitarist, you could catch up and have one person in your household or whatever. So we would write, and we just wrote and put songs together. So we were actually very productive. So we're just sitting on lots of pre-pro. So we're going to try and get into the studio every couple of months and just do a couple of songs and then release songs. And we're just kind of trying to get an ongoing kind of thing, and then drip feed a record, essentially. I mean, it's not going to be a record. It's not just going to be singles. But
I reckon, this is the fourth episode. Every single person we've talked to said exactly the same thing. So I'm so keen for when shit opens back up again, because there's going to be so many bands just dropping stuff non-stop, 2020 through 2023.
I think you'll see sick. a lot of that stuff. And maybe even older bands that had the time to revisit and go, oh, hey, how about we drop some tunes? Because people just had the time.
Definitely.
Yeah, no, that's awesome, man. And it's good to hear that you guys adapted to COVID the way you did, and you still managed to get work done. It's been a bit harder in Melbourne for a band like us, who especially have just started, who have no material. It's been really hard to kind of push us back. We were going to launch October. Now it's next year, and it just keeps going. So we're going to try and launch it as soon as possible, and hopefully, man, we end up on a bill with you eventually or something, in the future.
Yeah, that'd be cool, man.
That'd be really cool.
I'll check that stuff out. I always
for sure. And man, we'd love to have you back on again. whenever you want, anytime you want,
Yeah, sick,
Always.
man. My pleasure. Like I said, I'm new to this thing. I mean, I don't know if I'm what you're looking for or like.
No,
Either way,
kind of
thanks for talking shit with
man.
us.
We're so thankful for your time, and like, we hope that you feel like you had a fun time as well.
Yeah, I mean, I do. I'm always very conscious of what I say. I don't want to come across like insensitive or rude, but at the same
It's
time,
good
I
to
don't
be
want
like
to
that,
be
man.
just myself.
It's good to be like that. I've kind of have a problem where I've got like no filter, and I kind of come up. But everything I say, I mean in a good way, and everything I do talk about, I try to talk about in a responsible way. But sometimes I know it can be
articulation is a bitch.
It's hard to get without people judging you, So
yeah, that being said, like certain topics should be discussed. I mean, as long as you are like, if someone is wrong, and then for example, if I'm wrong or I'm miseducated, and someone re-educates me, and I go, oh, cool, I'm not going to be dismissive and turn into like a dick because I'm like my ego's taking a hit. I'm not that petty. Like if I can be educated about something, like there's all this new stuff that's coming out that I don't truly understand, but at some point it will make itself clear to me. Like I've got a 1-year-old daughter now, man, which is sick. She's awesome, and I guarantee when she's going to school, she's going to be saying weird stuff that I don't understand. I'm going to feel like a dinosaur. So I mean, it's all.
I've got an 8-year-old. Yeah, I've got an 8-year-old boy. And I have him all the time. And yeah, he says stuff occasionally where I'm like, you can't say that. You got to relax a bit. But he's a very good kid, and man, I'm glad to hear that you've got a 1-year-old and that you're loving being a parent, because I think that being a parent is really awesome fun.
It's challenging. It's very demanding on my relationship at times. Like my wife's a legend, and I don't give her enough praise. So shout out. And
it's good, man, too, because kids. It's cool watching you shape somebody. Like you get a chance to shape somebody yourself and teach them kids values and stuff. But they're very cute. Like kids are great, man. I wouldn't trade it for anything in the world, So
I was a stepdad one day. It's another story for another time.
All right, man. Well, thank you, everyone. Thank you for watching this episode aloud, and we will see you next week. I've been your host, Tomye. That's Connie. Connie. Hey, Connie. And
hey, buddy. What's going on?
Scott from the band, from his band Emecia, and you should definitely go check those guys out.
Oh, one quick thing. Yeah, you should definitely go check out Emecia. If you, hopefully it wouldn't be a trademark thing, but remember the brand Emecia? You should get Emecia with the logo there if you haven't already.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
that has crossed my mind, but it's a very basic font. Like I've done it, and it just looks like you've misspelled America. So I have dabbled with that before. It just looks like you're wrong,
Yeah.
Well, thanks again, man. Thanks heaps. We really appreciate it, and thank you for everyone that tuned in, and we'll see you next time.
Have a good day. See ya.
How you going, everyone? This episode of Loud is proudly sponsored by Smooth My Balls. Keep your balls clean, smooth, and attractive. Now, listen, I'm not judging you. I'm not. And I never would. But if you're not keeping your downstairs maintained, you've got problems. So, in order for us to solve this issue for you and everyone around, you need to go right now to the link you can see on screen. It'll also be in the description, and get 20% off your first purchase. Your first purchase to make everything down there, everything beautiful, smooth, and attractive for whoever it is. A woman, a man. Let's just keep it at a human that's of age. Let's make that clear. A human of age. If you're looking to impress anyone that's a human of age, and you want them to go down there and be like, whoa, this guy is well kept, or this woman is well kept, or whatever, then you better go and check out Smooth My Balls and their products, because right now you can get 20% off using this link, which helps us too, because we benefit from you purchasing this too. We benefit. We all benefit. No hair, benefits, Smooth My Balls. You get the gist. On to the show.